this. We think it's desirable on more than one count to let Jalkatala, whom we really owe this account, to round it up as far as space allows, in his own words. From the 11th to the 13th of July, Baba made me, Mehraji, and Neram to read passages from Apashni's Dastar's work on Christian mysticism, respectively concerning God as the only reality and about the identity of the soul with God. On the last day, Baba's own divine thing was read to him by me as described, as desired by him. I quote, on the 14th, the word was received from Iraj and Pune that with the help of Suruj and Buglow was arranged for Baba in Maharish Road at 7:30 a.m. on the 16th. A few minutes before Baba's departure, Adi took the car near Baba's cabin enclosure. All of a sudden, when it went into our rooms and closed the door as per previously instructions, so that Baba might not be seen by us. We then heard the car moving away. When it crossed the bridge near the gates, Adi sounded the Spartan horn, and we came out of the room. Last evening, Kaka and brought Baba's message for us that Maya was strictly and powerful, and we must be very watchful in his absence. This naturally kept us all on the alert, anxiously waiting for his return. And on the last 24th of July had dawned. It is now about 10 a.m. and we expect Baba's within a few hours. It was 6:30 p.m., but there was no sign of any car. As it was getting late, I was feeling uneasily. And when at 8 minutes to 7, we heard the first sound of Adi's car, and we all rushed into our rooms and closed the doors. In the 14th period of seclusion, when it was indeed for relaxation, provided real one of intensive activities at Pune, the details were collected in an interesting account written by Dr. Gandhi, whom Baba has specially allowed to be near him during the Pune phase of partial seclusion, partial work, and partial relaxation. Most of the details are beautifully described in William Duncan in his new book, The Work of Mere Baba with Advanced Souls, Sadhgurus, Mad and Poors. The last period of Baba's seclusion from the 25th onward was notable, for it was the re-intensification of his fast and seclusion on the 30th, when on that day Baba passed completely 10 hours all by himself, and even Kaka was not allowed to approach him. On the 31st, even the servants had to be observed silence. I concluded that the account, after giving some of my own experience during these times, most happy days of my life, although I did not see Baba, he seemed to be he seems to be always with me. Problems and questions arising in my mind used to get themselves solved in such a manner that I never seemed to have had such experiences to such an extent before. Above all, Baba seemed to have kindled some spark of his love somewhere in me, and many times I felt an ecstasy difficult to describe. One day, when I returned from evening walk and sat near with Namiran, his feelings took such a hold of me that I could not repress a visible smile looking on the hill on the horizon. Namiran remarks, he is becoming masked and he has gone off his head. I put him off by giving some plausible explanation and ended this curiosity. When I think of my own being, I totally unworthy of Baba's pure love. The following lines come to mind on an unworthy person like this. Thou hast bestowed thy grace out of thine infinite kindness. My eyes get full of tears of love of the idea. It was 10 years ago that I had the privilege of spending some months with Baba's company at Mangalore. During these years of working in different places and under different and trying circumstances, it happened to spoil my mind, my health, and it was March of last that one morning I thought of taking some leave and to spend some time with Baba if possible. To my surprise, a few hours later, I got a telegram from Baba inquiring how I was feeling. Needless to say, I replied what I felt, and he desired me to take the leave. In spite of the difficulties involved in getting leave at short notice, I could get to it and enjoyed it. And now I am going back to join. I'm going back. And now I'm going back to enjoying my work soon from the refreshed and rejuvenated mind and heart. With a prayer to dear Baba, may thou grant out of thy pleasure thy eternal devotion. Bhakti said, of thy feet the count of thy true devotee, and further may the spark of love for thee which thou hast kindled out of thy grace and kindness unto the heart continue to shine and gather strength with each breath of his life and thereafter. As I wrote these last words of the last line above and placed them in a pen on the table sitting alone in my room, I simultaneously heard Baba's bell as he pressed the button, sparklingly called Kaka, and at the moment when I completed my prayer. Avatar Mer Baba Kiji.
Good job. Jai Baba.
Thank you, Jai Baba. Good night, everyone. And pay attention to my Angela's mustache.
Or what was that in the beginning of that thing that you read? Who was the author of the Mysticism of Christianity or something like that? Do you remember?
Rumi Abdullah Deshman wrote this. It's translated from the Hindu couplet. I don't know. It says Apashat Duster and works on Christian mysticism, respectively, concerning God as the only reality and about the identity of the soul with God. Baba's own divine theme was read to him as described. That's all I have for that one.
Yeah, thank you.
I think it was very heart touching. I like the way he described his feeling, his feeling in his heart.
Yeah.
Crying from within the heart. That's the most precious thing in the world. Avatar Mer Baba Kija, thank you for giving me your precious times of your life to spend with you tonight. I feel blessed and I'm not stressed. Have a good night.
That's good.
Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba.
Jai Baba.
Hey, Jeff. Guess who's here today? You have to unmute, Jeff. There you go.
mean Ganesh?
I mean, Polly Fusco.
Polly Fusco? Where's Polly?
He's under the name Servant of God.
Oh, hey, wow.
Hey,
I
Paulie,
missed
you
the
there?
guy. Paulie.
Polly.
Jai Bob, everybody.
Polly Fusco.
What's going
I
on?
didn't want to yell into the mic, but I would have.
What's going on, everybody?
We're just basically, this is post-arti. We're just hanging out. You know,
Right.
all the the loonies.
Well, actually, I think that Paul invented the post-arti party, so.
Hey, well, get it
I
going.
I think Alan did with Mo, actually.
Oh, do Mo. Come on, Alan.
Muhammad the must.
I don't have Mo right now, or I don't know where he is.
No.
That's hardly an excuse.
It's been like a year.
That is no excuse. And it's been less than a year.
It reminds me of Mo, but it reminds me of Padre. Padre used to, he was one of the Mandali that lived at Lower Maribod, and he used to refer to us Westerners as, you loonies. You know, here come the loonies. And so on one occasion, there was a nice fancy vehicle that showed up from Bombay, you know, to come to Maribod to see, you know, obviously people had never been there before, and they got out of the car, and Padre says, here comes some more loonies. And they thought it was like a mental institution, asylum, and they drove on. So they lost out. There comes some more loonies. Anybody, we do have Sham somewhere, and he was going to at some point tell us about Guru Nanak. And it was, oh yeah, he is here. Anyway, Alan, what you got? Anything to share?
It's a pretty quiet night for me. I actually just finished reading that book. All these things take time, Mister.
Oh yeah.
That's a very beautiful.
All these things take time, mister.
Yeah, it was a very
Yeah.
particularly beautiful moment between Erico and Padre.
Yeah.
But that was a very beautiful book. I wish we could have seen all of the volumes and chapters that he wanted to write, but we did
Yeah.
get the special 16.
This is one of the new books out.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it's one of those books that I read in the midst of such intensity with my week, and then it was the only night during my week where I woke up. I woke up with tears running down my face and just completely relaxed, as if I had taken like 50 melatonin or something, but not really that tired. But I was like just really refreshed and very peaceful that morning when I woke up. It was just not usual. It was
yeah.
I'm getting
Not
that
usual.
for Christmas.
Oh yeah,
Someone's giving it to me.
yeah. It's worth the read. It's beautiful.
Hey,
Hey,
Jeff,
yeah, yes.
did I ever tell you how I met Erico?
No, go ahead. Can we actually see you, or you just want to be a nameplate tonight?
Yeah, I'm recovering right now, so
From,
I'm off camera.
okay.
So I was I was in the original kitchen one morning, and Erico was there. I didn't know who he was, and this is after Muhammad had passed on, and he was in Myrtle Beach for a while. So anyway, he was just cracking me up. I didn't know who he was. He was just telling all kinds of jokes. I remember something about how the Irish saved civilization or something like that. And there was just something about the guy that I really liked. So, he told me his name was Eric, right? But, I didn't know him. So I went back to my cabin later that night, and I was reading a book that Bobby Gardino had given me. And in the book, in the preface of the book, I think it was Bao, and he was thanking different people, and he said, I'd like to thank Eric, and I'm like, wait a minute, I just met that guy. Like, who is this guy? And he's in one of Bao's books, you know. So I called Bobby Gardino up, and I'm like, Bobby, who's this guy Eric? He's in Bao's books and such a. And he goes, oh, Polly. He goes, Polly, boy, that's Erico, Polly. And I'm like, okay, like who's that? He goes, oh, Polly, he used to take care of Muhammad. He spent his life taking care of Muhammad, Polly. So I started, I says, wow, that's pretty cool. I thought that was pretty good. So he said, so then the next day I was leaving the center, and I was on foot going towards the gatehouse, and Erico pulls up in the car. He was leaving. So I waved him down, and he says, oh, hi, how are you? I says, oh, Erico, man, I'm so sorry. I said, I didn't realize who you were. And he said, what do you mean who I was? He goes, what do you mean? I go, well, come on. I said, anybody who can give so much of their lives to another human being, let alone Muhammad the Must, man. He goes, oh, that. He goes, I'm going to see my mother right now. He goes, when I come back, he goes, I'll tell you a little bit about it. I said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm leaving tomorrow. I said, I won't be here. And I go, I just want you to know that I love you, brother. And I don't know what made me. I just reached into the car and I gave him a kiss. And he looked at me and he said, wait a minute. And he went into his bag and he pulled out like a dish towel. And he said, Muhammad had given this to me, Paul. I want to give it to you. He goes, but I want you to do something for me. He goes, I want you to put it on your head. And when you go home, I want you to put it on your wife's head. And I says, oh, I can't take that from you. He goes, no, I want you to have it. So I took it, and that was the first and last time I had met Erico.
Wow.
Hmm.
Very neat guy. Which probably a number of you have met him, but most of you haven't.
And did you put the napkin on the towel on your head?
Yes, yeah, I did actually. And I came home and I put it on my wife's head. And she's like, what is this? What is this? I go, just please, you have to do this for me. And I learned later on, many years ago, hold on one second, please.
He's getting his bedpan changed. No, I'm just kidding.
No, my wife's putting drops in my eyes. So I learned many years later, I was in India. I was over at Alan's house, and I was recanting the story. And Alan said that, Muhammad would give out those dish towels to different people from time to time. But he said that the ones he would give to Erico, though, he would tell Erico to put it on his head. That Erico was the only one that Muhammad would tell to put the dish towel on his head. I don't know quite what it means, but yeah, that was my story of Erico.
Well,
Very
his
nice.
stuff was definitely charged. We noticed that when we were in India, that anything Muhammad gave you was highly charged,
Wow.
even if you weren't very sensitive to things like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some beautiful footage actually that have just recently released of Padre kind of talking around the area and pointing things out, and even this beautiful exchange of him talking to Mo, and it was just really cute the way that he was talking to him. He would just be talking to him and was saying, just his voice, his the tone was just different the way he was talking to Mo. The way that Padre would talk to the people, he'd be like, what are you saying? Like they're like, ugh, like, but then to Mo, it was just so like sweet. You could feel the sweetness, and then there was this. Mo was up there like drinking out of the faucet, and he was like, "Say Meher Baba." Like you could tell, he's like, "Say Meher Baba. Come on, say for the camera. Say Meher Baba." And then he was just like, "Meher Baba, Meher Baba." And then he's like, "There you go. You got it.
Yeah.
It's
Wow,
great
that's
footage.
good.
It was really something to see somebody who was probably in their 70s or 80s, almost like a 4-year-old. I mean, that type of kind of innocence in such a mature body, such an old body.
Mm.
I mean, it's so incongruous to see someone so full of wonder and expansive and innocent and guileless in a body where most people, when they're like that, they've been around the block enough times that they're a little bit pessimistic or scrutinizing the world. I wanted to find out though, Gilda, where are you living?
I am still in Delaware.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yep.
You're in a pretty good state. You've
Yeah.
had a lot of activity in Delaware this last year.
We are the focus of the nation for a little while.
Yeah. Okay. So you're
Yeah.
back there. Okay.
Well, we all grew up with Biden. He went to the Catholic church that I grew up in.
Uh-huh.
And my dad is buried just a few yards from where his son and daughter and baby are buried. So for us, Biden is a very local, everyday kind of person.
Yeah.
Is it true that he came to the center?
I do not know
I-
about that.
We were, I don't believe so. I had heard, and this might be back in your time, Gilda, I had heard many years ago when he was a senator that he had gone to a couple of Baba meetings, but I never had it verified. This was after his wife and daughter were killed in an automobile accident.
Right.
Did he ever go to a Baba meeting?
Not to a Baba meeting that I attended, and that we hosted for many years, Baba meetings in our
Yeah.
home.
Mhm.
But I don't remember that. I'll have to ask some other locals.
I thought maybe John Prettyman might know, or, you know,
Yeah, we were in the same group with John.
yeah, yeah,
John
Yeah.
Prettyman and John Dennison.
yeah. And Joe DeSabatino maybe, right?
And Joe, yeah.
Yeah,
Joe and Ellen.
yeah. I did meet him, you know, way back when he was in South Carolina, and I had a Baba locket. I went up to shake hands with him after he had given a speech, and then he looked down at my Baba locket, so he at least has seen Baba's image.
Yeah.
I know that for sure. So here's what we have. Sham is there. I don't know if he feels like sharing a little bit about the life of Guru Nanak. He was he was a perfect master, one of the first of the Sikh, you know, tradition. And Baba
Yes.
used to have his prayers read aloud, and I guess different of his writing. But
Okay.
ah,
Yes, I am there. Yes, I can.
oh, there you are. Yeah,
Speak. Yes. Okay, thank you. Jai Baba,
yeah.
Guru Nanak,
A little louder.
master. Yes, Guru Nanak, the perfect master. You can hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
About 500 years back, Guru Nanak took birth in small village in a normal family, and from the beginning he was interested to know God and to become God. His father, when he became a bit young, his father wanted him to do some good business, and he noticed that he was always busy with sadhus, saints, and all people who were discussing about God. So he gave him some money that you go and do some business and earn your livelihood. Then he went, but returned next day saying that I have done a good business, true business. Father asked, what true business you have done? He said, I have spent the money feeding the saints near about. Father was very annoyed that this is the business you are doing. How shall you earn your livelihood? How shall you pass your life? Then he put him to one king, one small king in Punjab. It is called Lodi. It was the time of Babar, and Lodi put him for distributing ration, weighing and distributing ration to the public. So when he started counting and weighing, he would go up to the word 13. In Hindi, there is word 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. 13 is in Hindi Tera. Tera otherwise means yours. So when he reached the counting up to 13, he would forget and remember God, Tera, Tera, and he will go on repeating Tera, Tera, and putting more and more wheat or rice to the man who will be collecting this ration. So people thought that if one has to take a 20 or one has to take 25, he will give indefinitely after counting Tera, 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 and go on giving more and more wheat. So people told the king that he will finish the ration because he does not go to count after 13. Either he is not knowing the full counting or he stops always at 13. The king called him and asked him, what you do? He said, I count properly, but I don't know what happens to me after 13. Perhaps I go to trance or what happens, I don't know. I can't say. And the king ordered his men to count or to weigh the ration, whether it is how much less. And when they checked the ration, they found that it is the same one as per our books. There is nothing shortage. So this was another example for his love with God and God caring for him. And after this, he got two persons, disciples. One was Mardana, one was Bala. One was Hindu and one was Mohammedan. He gave the message of God to many places, to Afghanistan, even to Myanmar. It was called Burma in those times. He went also to China and nearby places. So this is the main. In his time, all people were called Sikh. Sikh means literally disciple. But after Guru Gobind Singh, they became to be called warriors. Sikh was called as Singh, S-I-N-G-H. Singh means lion. Because in the Aurangzeb time, there was a lot of conversions being done. So Khalsa or Sikhs were created just to fight with them. So this is mainly Baba Guru Nanak's teaching. He was one time he was put in the field to look for the crops so that birds do not eat it. He just cared for flying the birds to some extent, but later forgot. Then he said, Hari ki chidiyan hari ke khet, chugo ri chidiyo bhar bhar khet, that this field is of God and you sparrows are also of God. So you enjoy and I sit silently. I think you understand up to this point. Shall I continue or it is enough?
Yeah. Well, yeah, stop at that point and then we'll have part 2 next time. That you follow?
Yes.
Yeah. And then you could, think of some other stories associated with his life.
Okay.
Good.
After Guru Nanak, people asked him sometimes, some Mohammedans, that you are Hindu or Muslim. He will say, if I say I am Hindu, you will beat me or may kill me. And if I say Muslim, which I am not, then that will be false or untrue. So I am neither Hindu nor I am Muslim. I am just a soul residing in this body. And this soul is never Hindu, never Muslim. Similarly, one time they asked, who are you? He said, I am just a soul, and you care for or you look to my body, and my body has no religion. It's neither Hindu nor Muslim. I am just a part of God.
Yeah.
And he passed his time nicely, and especially after him, there were more gurus. 9 gurus were there in the counting. And then at the time of 9th Guru, it was Guru Tegh Bahadur. Some people from Kashmir came to him that Aurangzeb men are converting us forcibly into Islam, and we are not ready for that. Then if we don't accept, he kills us and destroys our houses and our fields. So you please help. He said, this needs the sacrifice of some great man to stop Aurangzeb from converting Hindus into Muslims. They said, you decide who should sacrifice or whom we can approach. Then his small son, who was about 10 or 12 years old, he said, Father, who is greater than you? You are the greatest at the time. He said, okay, then I give my sacrifice. And he told those people, Hindus, that you go and tell the king Aurangzeb that if our master converts into Islam, we all shall. Then this message was given to Aurangzeb, and he called the Guru, called this master Tegh Bahadur to Delhi and ordered him to be converted to Islam. But he said, no, I shall not. He said that I will kill you, I will punish you badly. He said, okay, you can do anything, but I will not accept Islam. So he was beheaded there, and his 3-4 followers were also put in very miserable death. And then his son, who was Gobind Rai name, he thought that it is not the way to be killed by these Mohammedans. We shall have to fight with them. But how shall we fight? Because in those days, people were very timid and very weak and were not combined or not together. So he thought that I should make people a bit stronger and fill their hearts with bravery.
Yeah.
So
So Sham,
yes.
Let's stop there. And
Okay.
and then because I think they might have a movie to show us, but
Okay.
We'll pick up where you left off.
Okay.
I won't forget. But
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Jeff,
yeah,
I just want to remind today is the day on 21st December, Gadge Maharaj reunion with Baba in 1956. Just reminding.
Gadge Maharaj.
If you got time, Gadge Maharaj.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was in 6th plane, Baba has given God realization to him.
Yeah. Hey, so did Alan or one of you had a movie, right?
Yes, after movie, Meher Chand may tell about Gadge Maharaj also after your movie. So now you can start the movie.
It wasn't
I'm
me
just
with the
reminding
movie.
him because the group discussion may be go on.
Say that again, Mayor Chand.
I said, let the discussion go on as per the schedule. Gadge Maharaj, I just reminded him.
Yeah, no, we're going to take a break here. Was it Ganesh who had a movie?
I just got this footage of Muhammad Mast from YouTube. I can share that. It's a 20-minute one. Maybe I can share a shorter version.
Yeah, share some of it. Yeah. This is Muhammad the Must. Just to tell you, about before you play it, I'll just give say a little bit about Muhammad. This Muhammad it took years for Erico to finally get how he became a must. It took him many years, and he eventually found out his name as a child. I think it was Bao, and he was married. He had a couple of children, and his father owned a kind of brick company, and he used to work there. But one morning he woke up, and he, just like a huge explosion, he just held his arms up, and he stayed like that for 3 weeks, right by his bed. And after that, he became a must, and he walked off and made his way to Bombay, left his family and everything, and he was in an altered state. And he wandered around. He was able to give the figures on the lottery to people, so they would do that, and he would be able to get food. But he knew he had to eat, even though he didn't have any sensation of eating. He just knew that in order to keep his body going, he had to eat. So he would give the winning numbers on these lottery tickets. And this is in Bombay. But eventually, there was some restaurant owner that recognized him as one of these advanced souls and let him, I think, stay under the restaurant. And then in 1936, Pleater, one of Baba's Mandali, discovered him, and Baba would ask different ones to bring him musts, and so he was brought to see Baba in Rahuri, and this was in 1936, and for 3 days he said he didn't recognize who Baba was, but then after 3 days he recognized Baba, and Baba gave him his work in this life. And Erico asked him, are you still, what about this work? And he said, I'm still doing this work that Baba gave me up to this very moment. So Baba gave him some work to do as far as I guess you might say, the spiritual dispensation for this world today. So anyway, that's a little bit of his background. Go ahead then.
Yeah, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, beautiful. That's Peter Nordine. I mean, Peter Booth.
Ganesh, you are not able to hear the sound.
Sound, I've already. Okay. I've already shared. Do I need to do anything else to share the sound?
Maybe try reshare again, like you selected those options, right?
Okay, I can do one thing. Wait, let me stop sharing and reshare.
Okay.
Yeah, share computer sound.
Take him into the doctor, have him x-rayed.
Is that for stomach abscess?
No, for his lungs. I think, right? He's going to be x-rayed for his lungs. So.
Yeah. Is he still on medication?
Sure. I can't tell you what.
What I did last night when he went to sleep, put the cotton.
So kidding.
I didn't put any more oil.
still go in?
Looks like we've lots of people
Or
there.
do you have a full
I
house?
think we had a full car.
Full van, all right, okay.
I want your clear mind. Then what do we take with us?
Okay, I decided to gather some things.
That's what I need you for. Yes, the gulabi glass, yes, definitely.
This is a Daphne with a slit in the side.
Yeah, that's what
कधी आता लो जायचं झोप नंतर झोपायचं आता नगरला जायचं परत यायचं नंतर झोपायचं ठीक आहे
आता उठवायची आता मी बोलू ना नाही 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 कसा काय यार आजी
Well, that is Dr. Ann, and she is probably looking in on him to see how he's doing. That's Alan Wagner with him. Alan knows fluent Marathi, so he can talk to.
I'm turning him around.
Ganesh, do you know what they're saying, Ganesh?
Yes. So I can say, I can share what they're saying. So they are taking him to Nagar to a doctor, and they say like, we'll take you to Nagar, then you come back and you take rest.
Over him because there's a breeze out there.
At one point, they dug his grave, but he didn't die, and I think he lived another 10 years. But they had his grave ready for him.
Serve this spot.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it'd probably be easier. Yeah. It'd probably be easier on him if you turn up and down the steps hills like that. Someone grab the feet. That's it. Let it go down. Roll down.
I think that's okay.
Hello. I think Anne wanted him in the middle. There's someone on either side of him.
He was concerned about only one thing that would go right back. He didn't like being in here. I mean, that was my impression anyway when he said to me.
So they are taking him to Nagar to the doctor. This is the Nagar city.
David, you guys have to pick up the chair. It's not difficult. Okay, that's good. Now, you're getting the door, but you get to start on the stairs. You're not quite square because one wheel's going to rub the door. Oh, here we go. Okay, now, so we just carry all the way to the first landing? Yep. Can you do that?
Yep. 1, 2.
Our brother Mohammed, who's been with Mir Baba, and Mir Baba explained that he is completely intoxicated because he sees God, so he doesn't care about his physical body and all that very much. So that's why it's very difficult to treat him, but he doesn't say that he hurts or... So what we need at this point is a good chest X-ray at least to see the base.
He can't straighten up.
I told him after that, he can't lie down flat on his back or... And I would like someone on his feet. if possible, to check his liver and pancreas, because either there was an abscess in the liver or in the pancreas or one of the pseudocysts. I mean, it's better today. One day it's better, the next day it's worse. So I thought if we know exactly a little more precisely what's happening, because for 7 days it's been going on like that. On and off, yeah. He was septic for a day or two, and then he brought up all his pus. That's when I started when I started abscess. Then he had no fever for almost 2 days. It changes all the time. 3 times I saw that to the end. It was
Okay,
so
Ganesh.
And
Yes. Yes, Jeff.
Why don't we stop it there?
Okay. Yeah, I've stopped it.
Yeah. Anybody there? That's quite something.
Yeah, I've got a sweet short little video of Padre if you want to see it.
Yeah.
It's about four minutes, but it's a sweet little video.
You know, in case you people want to know what Guru Nanak looked like, it's look at Jay Moeller. That's what Guru Nanak looked like. Really. We put it on the screen last time.
Tell me if you can hear this.
Robert. Ready?
Yeah.
No?
We can hear, yeah.
Oh, okay.
What I want to know, Kaka.
He's on.
He's on. He's on.
He's a swindler, I tell you.
He's off his rocker.
No, he's not off his rocker.
All Westerners are loony.
Here. But one thing, at least give us a...
What did you say?
I said
Repeat.
What?
What did you just say?
All Westerners.
Or what?
The loony are off the rocker.
Unless you are a loony, you cannot come here. You got to be a loony for the world.
That's true. We're all loony. Definitely.
You understand that?
Yes.
The world calls us mad.
Yes, yes.
All right, sir, I am. I am. What's wrong with it? You be saying, go on, earn millions and pack off. Go on. We don't want it.
Can you have both? Can you have the millions and also stay here?
I have got millions. My father is very rich. Not rich, wealthy. He is very wealthy. Yeah.
What's the difference between rich and wealthy?
Rich means this, and wealth means everything.
Okay.
Everything. What do you want? We'll give it to you. Don't ask it.
Well.
Kaka, what we'd like to know is, 58 years, you're walking the soil of Mehrabad here.
Yes.
Just, you know probably whatever is our property, every square inch.
Yes.
To you, although so many years you've been here, do you feel it's still sacred, that it's walking on sacred earth for you to be where he had walked with you?
I got no sentiments. I know only obeying the master. I got no room for sentiments. No, sir. No sentiments for me. No long face for me. Or a wry face for... There he goes. There he goes. All right.
So what is it? So is it just day-to-day duties that you carry out?
Straightforward job. Serve the king.
If Baba would have put you in New York.
I would have gone to New York. But had I not liked it, I would have told him that I don't like it. Yes, certainly. Why not?
Right.
Whom should I say to?
Yeah.
Huh? Whom should I say it to?
You say it to me.
I can't tell you. Huh?
You don't want to say it to me. I don't want
I wouldn't waste my breath by telling you.
But Kaka...
Because you couldn't do anything about it, you see.
You got all these loonies all around now
They're watching you being videotaped. They want to hang on your words now. What do you say to
Hey,
them?
why hang on my words? I'm not a master.
No, right. So I'm saying no.
Hey, that's too much.
But not hang.
Hey, shut that
Wait.
machine out.
No.
I'll shoot somebody.
But if you had a word of advice to give to all these people just hanging out here, what would you say?
Keep it up. Keep it up. There are plenty of charlatans during this authoric period. Many are born. He is the one who creates it, remember. They are not born just out of anything, you know, God himself creates it. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Is he taking his 10 wings? Has God taken a holiday? Huh? So it is him who creates it. Why? You see, for our ordeal by fire. It's our ordeal by fire. You don't leave him. That's all.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was awesome.
How old, Jeff, how old were you then?
Say that again?
How old were you then?
Who, me?
Yeah, wasn't that your voice? As one
No, that was a guy named Gary Kleiner.
No, but there were like 3 different guys. You're not one of them?
I don't think so. I don't
No,
think so.
Jeff wasn't in there.
Yeah. But there you know, Baba said, you know, one time, I can't say that, but this for sure. I don't know whether it was, but Baba did say that he will be a perfect master in his next life. Padre. So that's what they look like. You know, they're just, he would, I have no sentiment, you know what I mean? But very fun to be with, very, very loving, but for those who were close to him, that worked with him, he was very, like I say, he didn't hold anything back. But they had a different relationship with him. I mean, the mandale, those close mandale, they had perfect pitch. So they knew if your strings were sharp or flat, you know what I mean? They knew, and they would get on you if you were close to them. For most people, they were really quite loving and fun to be with and caring and all that. But anyone that was close, they were sticklers of getting their guitar perfectly in tune. And you know what I mean? I mean, just their things that you might think are good might not actually be good for you. You know, it might come out as sharp or flat. So you rarely have someone around that can kind of straighten, tune your instrument.
Yeah, there's a.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I remember 3 things of Padre. Firstly, he was free and frankly, and he used to tell whatever he feels. And he was the one who told Baba that I'm not going to join you in new life. And second thing is, Baba, now the time has come to close our shops, close down. And third thing about him is, you say that you are the present avatar. What happens to all the prayers now they are making in the temples and churches and everything? He says, Baba said, all this comes to me. So just in brief, I've told, I'm not going to the deep into the subject. I'm just hinting you.
Yeah.
And he was the very, very dare enough to say, because people were little hesitant to talk before Baba. But Padre was very free and frank.
Yeah. He was great. Yeah, I mean, on that second thing you said, when he went to see Baba, he at the end of Baba's life, he said, Baba, just close the shop, just close the shop. And Baba said, close the shop. We're just now opening it. The wine shop. Yeah.
Just for question for Alan was, he said he read this book All things take time, Mister. So in that, anything unique you found or something like that struck you deeply, Alan?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's currently has the book or is reading it. I don't want to necessarily ruin any parts for them. Is anybody reading it? Does not want me to talk about it?
You
Should I
go
pause?
ahead.
Okay. I just want to make sure. But there was one part where Heather was talking about how she was just kind of losing it at times, just like being there and having a lot coming up, living kind of next door to Padre and being in such close, just working with him, and just the life there was just getting really kind of grinding her down. And at one point she was it's just a very peculiar story that's kind of stuck with me, but she was feeling just really out of sorts and was was like screaming at Erico and was just like really just swearing up and down and like using F this and F that and just like slamming things and just like losing it. And Erico apparently thought it was funny, so he just was like laughing at her because that's how he reacted to her getting enraged. So she like basically grabbed him and threw him out onto the veranda, or I don't know what you call it, but he just out in the patio.
Veranda, yeah.
And he was just like kind of on the ground there, and this whole time Padre's just kind of like doing what he's doing, not really joining this, not saying anything, but he's just kind of walking back and forth, pacing, doing his work, and he'd kind of look over. But she basically was swearing and going, just being ballistic, and then she's like slammed the door of like whatever, the front door, and that's the moment where, like, because she was like physically abusive to the framework of Baba's home, he like came in and was like, hey, take it easy. And that was like just that moment, he like looked at both of them and he was like, take it easy. And then like he just like, and then he like walked off, and they were kind of stunned by his comment. But he was soft though. He wasn't edgy. He wasn't like, hey, he was just like, hey, take it easy. And they were like, like they just kind of came to, like, what are we, oh my goodness. Like, but I appreciated her vulnerability, because that was, that kind of stuff is ugly. And it was just the way that you could see, like you said, the perfect pitch. He handled that situation like, he wasn't just a grumpy old man about it. He was like, just really waited for the perfect moment to speak to both their hearts. And something about that really, really struck me.
Yeah. Hey, I was going to add, Priya, are you still there? I'm just wondering if anybody has heard anybody speak like Padre did. Anyway, is there any Indian accent that's like his? Because it was complete. What's that?
I would not know that.
Yeah, he had a certain way of speaking, and never heard anyone quite like like we just saw, the way he would express himself.
I really loved when Erico talked about how he would swear so beautifully. So he would he would have such a beautiful way of like he would just like go into spontaneous, like somebody brought milk one time, and there was little tadpoles swimming in it. And so he was like, my friend, he was like, my friends, come here. And they came in, the two guys came in, and he was like, and he just started going into prose, like just started saying this beautiful, like, and he was like enchanting them, like, in the whole room felt like very filled with enchantment. And he would just like, and then he was just like basically mixed it in like right at the middle of this beautiful enchantment, and was like, and that's how you and he just started swearing and bringing in this wrath. And then they were both like looked at each other, and they're like, and he's like, don't you ever come here. And like, and basically he was just like, how dare you bring this spoiled milk and try to sell me, milk that was mixed with like pond water, like, and they were freaked out. But the way he did it apparently was like so surprising to Erico that he actually asked him, like, where did you learn to swear so beautifully? He's like, what do you think? The king. And then he was like, whoa, what? And Erico had never thought that Baba had, when he was speaking, was like so eloquent and swearing. So I thought that was interesting too.
You know, that
Just the
reminds
best part of the Padri's tapes, I like the way he expressed when Gary asked a question to Padri, how did you come to Baba? He laughed as usual. He's ha 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 ha. I'm destined to come. I'm bound to come. I've come. That's all.
Yeah, that's his Baba story, folks. He was Mara's cousin. His mother and Mara's mother were sisters. One time, you know, there was a guy, Robert Dreyfus, that a Westerner who had met Baba, who was Adi's assistant for some years there in town. And one day he was in the office with Adi, and suddenly Padri barges in, and he lays into Adi, but it's in Gujarati, and he's yelling at, you know, and suddenly Adi gets provoked, and he starts yelling back at him at, you know, and, you know, in Gujarati, and they're going after it, and must be some dispute about Mehrabad and the money or whatever, and they're going at it. And finally, Padri storms out, and Robert Dreyfus, who's witnessed this, wanted to just kind of, you know, Adi turned to him and said, "Did that bother you?" He said, "Yeah, I mean, I just, I didn't even want to be here. I wanted the earth to open up and disappear." He says, "Well, it didn't bother us." So they could be quite vociferous with each other, and it didn't affect their relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, I highly recommend anybody check that book out.
Yeah.
Beautiful stories.
There's a part in there. Oh heck, I wish I had the books in the other room for me. Hey, Dinku has suddenly appeared.
No, I've been listening to you all.
Yeah.
Jeff, you know what you said about Padri's accent?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty typical amongst us Parsis, you know, that kind of the English come Gujarati mix.
Uh-huh.
And about the swearing, that's another typical Parsi male trait.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, to me, it sounded his accent was very natural.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So, so that's not as unique as,
No.
yeah.
No.
I know that he spoke like 4 different languages or something like that.
Yeah. Could have even spoken more. Yeah.
Yeah. I could share one more if you want.
Yeah, well, you guys up for same another? I mean, there are very few films, very little footage taken of Padri, and you basically had to get them in the right mood on the right day and the right hour.
Yeah, there was one particular story that really struck my heart, and I still don't really know why. I'm still kind of chewing on it, but it was one day that Erico was there again, and he was there on the porch in front of Padri's little room there, and somebody rolled up. They came, I think, on a horse or with bulls or something. But this particular gentleman was massive. He was like, Erica was describing him as just like, his bones were just huge. He was just a ginormous man, and tall and huge, just heavy set, and he was kind of at a distance. Erica was at a distance and saw Padre interacting with this guy. And at one point, the guy basically became really violent, and he didn't physically attack, but he was like screaming. You know, he was getting really upset and aggressive towards Padre. And Erica was saying that his adrenaline kind of shot up, and he was just kind of went into like fight or flight. But he was in the fight. He was ready to just pounce on this guy. It was a really intense moment there. And the guy, all of a sudden, this massive man, pulled out a blade. And when he pulls out this blade, Padre jumps into his little room and he flies back out. And he has this bullwhip. And he basically is so, the way that Erica was describing this, I mean, it just tore, I don't know, something about it really, he said that Padre became almost translucent, and like as if he just became light. He just became so bright. But he moved around this man with such agility, and every whip would hit this giant man's clothing, and every hit would take a piece off of his clothing. And he would move around again, and he'd do another whip, and it would hit another part, and it would rip off another piece of clothing. And it got to the point where this giant man, he realized that he was going to die. And so he looked up at the sky, and he started praying. And he basically was just praying to God. And he knew that he wasn't going to make it, basically. And basically Padre stopped in that moment, and you know, he let the man run off. But it's just something about the ferocity of God's love through Padre in that moment for me. But yeah, I don't know what to say. Yeah, that particular story moved me. Yeah.
Yeah, very. I've had that described. That's a very powerful scene. Boy. I think he whipped the knife out of his hand too, right? Just Priya could have done it. Priya could have taken him on.
Hey, Alan.
Yeah.
It occurred to me as you were saying that when he became light, he was actually reflecting the man's anger back. In other words, as like a mirror. And then as the man started to pray to God, he reflected that back as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just enough to neutralize, to realize, and then of course ultimately forgive.
Yeah. It was just incredible that he would jump into that mode immediately. And then in other parts of the book where Erica talks about how and you said, Jeff, tonight that Padre would just kind of like just let it go immediately. He would just drop it. You'd ask him like 5 minutes later about it, and he'd be like, what are you talking about? I think that part is very, you could see that he was like living his last life. Like it was just very beautiful to that they got to experience that. Somebody who was so involved in speaking with Baba constantly, and they would hear him mumbling and saying poetry, Hafiz, and they'd be like, "What are you saying?" And he's like, "I'm talking I'm talking to the king right now."
To the king.
Yeah. No, it's just beautiful.
listen, everyone, I'm gonna call it a night. Good to see you all again. I love you all. And
Hey, what time do they go to bed on Long Island anyway? I mean,
yeah, no, I'm just a little bit under it right now. So
you don't have COVID though, do you?
no, I had surgery a couple of days.
Oh, okay.
So, but I love everybody.
Yeah, thanks. Wonderful to hear you, Paul.
Brothers.
Great to hear you, Paul.
And my sisters out. Good night.
Paulie. Paulie. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing that, Alan.
Yeah. Terry, did you have something to say?
I just have a question. I have a picture of Baba here with this really tall person, and I'm curious, it's a man, if you know who he is. Can you see it? Next to Baba?
Yeah, that's I mean, that's in England, and but I actually don't know who that is. That's either in England or in America in the 30s.
They're holding hands. Do you see?
Yeah, I see the guy. I don't know who that is.
He's so much taller than everyone else. It's so
yeah.
Coat looks like it's like I don't know. It looks so long to me.
Yeah.
Is it Markham Shores, Paul?
What's that?
Is it Malcolm Scott? I've forgotten his name.
Oh, Malcolm Schloss? No, it's not Malcolm Schloss. No.
Is it Meredith Starr?
No, not Meredith Starr.
I don't think it's Fred Marks either.
No, not Fred Marks. Yeah. But there were, yeah.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with anything except it.
Well, it's interesting.
But it's a new game show called Stump Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Peter Nordine would probably know who it is. Or a guy named Tony Zois, a Greek guy originally from Australia. He knows all these things.
Where does he live now?
He lives in Myrtle Beach.
Oh.
He's got a thing called Baba's Travels. It's a site, but he's pretty amazing. He'll take a dining scene, a Delmonico hotel.
My name is William.
And he'll figure out who's at each table. He'll spend months and months trying to find out who is at each one of these tables.
Wow.
So it's William Halbert. His name is.
Oh, William Halbert.
Yes, William Halbert.
How do you find that out,
Ganesh?
I don't know if I can share that email. 1 minute. I just found out that in one. Let me share my screen. I can show where I found it.
You didn't understand
These guys can find anything.
His name.
So if you can see this, so my screen, and you can read it. It's Nadan Tolstoy, Marina Matchpilly, Mercedes de Costa, and William Halbert. So that's William Halbert.
Uh-huh.
Who that is?
Show the one of Mercedes de Costa. So this might be even this could even be California. Let me tell you something about Mercedes de Costa. She's the shortest lady there.
Yep.
She was a Hollywood screenwriter and quite successful, and knew all of the Greta Garbo and all of them. But at a certain point in her life, she had determined to commit suicide. I mean, she was so miserable and everything that she had really contemplated committing suicide. She'd even got a revolver and had gone out in the woods and practiced shooting. And on the day that she was determined to take her life, she got a call from Narina Machabelli there, the tall lady.
Yep.
And Narina was, she was very persuasive. And she said, I got somebody you have to meet. You got to meet this person. And you'll change your life and everything. And she persuaded Mercedes on the day that she was going to commit suicide to come and meet this this man, which turned out to be Baba. So Mercedes writes that she went upstairs on the second floor and met Baba. She felt actually in meeting Baba that she felt she was actually meeting herself. That was her experience. But while there, Baba spelled out on the alphabet board, I want you to go down to your car, take the revolver out of your glove compartment and bring it up to me. She had not told anybody this. And so she went down and got her revolver, gave it to Baba. Baba opened it up, took the bullets out of it and gave it back to her and said, never think about doing that again. But that was that's how Baba intervened in her life. Mercedes de Costa.
I think this is at Merrimack.
So that's William Hulbert.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time I see photos like that, I think of when Darwin says when he met Baba, he just saw that he was total significance.
Yeah. Yeah. That guy, I mean, it's too bad he didn't, wasn't born a little bit later and could have been maybe recruited by the Los Angeles Lakers or somebody, Golden State. Power forward. No, beautiful. Oh, wow.
What a night.
Hey, I was going to ask you before the night ended. Do you know what happened to Baidul? I was trying to find out. Like, did he leave Baba at some point, or did something happen with him?
No, he never left Baba. He he was the musk hunter, and he could pick up vibrations. Baba said he had a nose. He could sniff out musk. In fact, there could be some musk contact years back, and he would know through these paddocks and everything in the dark and everything, could go right to where this musk lived. But toward the end of his life, he himself started to become like a must. He lived there at Marizod, and I think he passed on at Marizod. Or I can't remember the end of his life, but he was by then a bit of a must himself.
Did you meet him?
Never met him. No, he had passed. But there was he and Baba used to kind of incite Kaka and Baidul in their search for must. Who was bringing the real must and who was bringing just a mad person, and they would get into these arguments. And one time Bal Kachuri said that they were arguing, over that guy is not even a must. He's mentally unbalanced, but he's not a must. And they were fighting at it. And in the middle of the argument, Baidul's false teeth came out, and he reached down in the dirt, in the dust, puts them back in and continues the argument. These guys must have been a lot of entertainment for Baba, because that after a while they didn't care what anybody thought. So you got the raw form. You got the unvarnished, unlaundered personality.
Yeah, are there any? I don't know if we've talked about this, but are there any musts right now on the earth, and also perfect masters? When do they come into play?
I have them all the time.
Yeah, there are 5 perfect masters, but during this, during either 100 or 200 years or whatever, they remain in the wings, and Baba is center stage. So anybody that's kind of known and has a large following is not a perfect master. But as soon as the influence of Baba's advent comes to an end, then you will hear of the perfect masters, different ones. There will probably be Baba's Mandali, actually. You know, but right now, there are perfect masters, and they might have a small following, but they don't become known on a large scale.
Yeah. So there's always 5 on the earth.
Always 5, and there are musts. I've seen musts even after Baba dropped his body. I mean, here and there you'll see a must. They are here. There are even some musts in this country. I mean, I think Fred Winterfeld, or it may be Darwin, asked Baba if there were any musts when Baba was here, and they said he kind of looked out like he was scanning America. He said there are a few, but don't contact them. So we even have some in our country. And they're not in politics.
Too bad.
Yeah, yeah. But you saw what Muhammad, you know, they are very unusual.
I felt like he was gonna jump. I felt like very uncomfortable that he was gonna jump out at one point or something. I don't know why I had that weird thought. I just was like, is he gonna
No,
reach
I
out
mean,
and
he was all bent over permanently, you know,
Oh,
as you saw him.
yeah.
But I know the first time I went to Lower Marabad, and Padre was showing us around the inside of Mandalay Hall, all these photographs and everything. There were a few of us, and I felt this wave of love suddenly pass through me, and I turned in the direction of where it was coming from, and Muhammad was sitting on his cot, and he lowered his eyes, you know. And then we're going around. I'm looking at the photographs. I feel that wave of love going. I turn around, and Muhammad just lowers his eyes. So even from a distance, he could send love, you know, flowing right through you. I mean, and one time we were on our way up to the tomb, and we stopped by. On the way up to the tomb, we stopped by to pass by Muhammad where he stayed in Mandalay Hall. There's a morning arti, and there was a Hindu lady, and she got into talking with him. We were all standing around, kind of respectfully. And after she talked with him, and we started up the hill, she said, "Well, what did Muhammad say?" And she said, "Muhammad said, people are like steel. They just won't melt." People are like steel. They just won't melt. You know, just.
Wow. Yeah. I guess I had that thought because I read that Heather said that when Padre told her to go change Mo's shirt, and so she went up and she was a little awkward about it, and she was like, "I have to change your shirt." He was like, "No, I don't want to change my shirt." And she was like, "Come on, like we have to change your shirt. It's dirty." He's like, "No." And so she's like, "All right, come on." And she's like, starts lifting up his shirt. And apparently just like out of nowhere, just this superhuman strength, he just picked her up and threw her like probably 10 feet. Like she flew and landed like, and Padre saw this, and he he basically chided him like a child. He's like, "You don't do that. You don't treat her like that. You say you're sorry to her." And then he was like, "You let her change her shirt." And he was like, I'm sorry. He would call him Padre Seth.
Yeah.
Padre Seth. I'm sorry. And he just never did it again. He was always very kind to Heather after that.
Yeah. Very dear.
Very endearing the way he spoke to him.
You know, I just while we're on the subject of Muhammad, one time in the early years, we, in order to kind of be able to hang out with him, we would bring him stacks of Baba photographs, you know, and we put them on the bed, the cot beside him, and he would, you know, he'd look at it, Dada, 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 and then he'd put it down, and he'd go and get another, and you know, Dada, Dada, and everything, and he'd go through a stack, and he'd ask for more, and we'd be scrambling around trying to get photographs. But one time we kind of ran out. We didn't have many, and I had a photograph of Baba in a little frame, and there was some Baba's hair behind it that Gene Shaw had given me. So among these stack was this thing. So he's going, you know, Dada, you know, looking at these photographs, and he's going and putting them down, and he gets to that one, and he starts going like this. And then he takes it and he puts it behind him, and then goes for some more photographs. So I'm like, hey man, he's got my Baba's hair. I can't get it from him and everything. I mean, like I thought, oh my God, I'm never going to get this back. Finally, after 3 days, you know, I told Padre, he's got a picture of mine that's got Baba's hair in it. And so Padre went and got it. But when I put that picture in my pocket, my whole chest area just glowed and heated up. And I said, hey, put this in your pocket. See what it does. And we all put it in our pocket. That thing was so charged, you know. So that's just, you know, that little man was so loaded.
You still have it?
No, I don't know where. It might be a buddy of mine. I might have given it to him. But he was able to know. He knew the Baba's hair. He could tell, because it wasn't visible. He could tell that a strand of Baba's hair was loaded.
Mm. And what is that? Do you think that's part of the what do you call it? The divine impressions?
Yeah.
Like just the fact that it was grown from Baba's body. I mean, do his clothes have divine impressions?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. They are, they might even be more spiritual than we are. Here, I'll take the robe, not that guy. You know, I mean, one time Baba was in northern India, and he told the women that this area is charged. And they said, well, what's to account for that being charged? And he said, the robes of 2 of Jesus's disciples are buried here. Just 2 robes after 2,000 years is still creating a spiritual atmosphere in a whole area. I mean, of course, those robes, I'm sure Jesus embraced them, so they were pretty charged anyway. But it's not just artifacts or relics. These things, Mara was so impressed. She went as a little girl to a mosque, and they had, in this mosque, they had one strand of Muhammad's hair inside of a box, inside of a box, inside of a box, inside of a box. A whole, you know, and I think once, one day out of the year, it would be, they would take it out and people could actually see it. Just one strand of Muhammad's hair. It seems like, you know, this is a fetish, but it really isn't. This is the real thing.
Yeah, and I think that was at Ajmer.
What's that?
I think that place was Ajmer in North India.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and actually that created a deep impression on Mehra, and she started like valuing and treasuring each hair of Baba.
Uh-huh. You mean when she saw that mosque with Baba's with Muhammad's hair?
So,
yeah.
Yes, and that actually created, because that was when she was young, she saw that. So every time she used to comb Baba's hair, she was treasuring, because she knew that how much each strand valued. Like is invaluable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that people in the 70s somehow got a lot of like some of Baba's hair, and I was like, "What? You guys were trading hair, like Baba's hair around?" Like, I heard it from some. I forgot who I heard it
Yeah.
from, but I was
No,
like,
they gave us gifts of Baba's hair.
"What?"
In fact, yeah.
What?
One time, Khorshid gave me a whole, reached into a whole canister, gave me a whole bunch of Baba's hair from the 30s, which I would kind of give out to people. Yeah.
And you still have that?
You know, someone actually took it.
Wow.
You can't believe
They
it.
used to put it in a pink small packets like that. Beloved Baba's hair, gift from Medazad Mandal is printed on that. I have 2 packets right now also with me.
Wow.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful.
Well, so Baba maybe took his hair back. He's like, "It's not for you, Jeff."
I know. That was
hair
really,
from the 30s.
Yeah. It was auburn. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
There is a mosque in Kashmir called Hazrat Bal. Hazrat Bal means Prophet's hair. That was put it in a small glass bottle, small bottle. In that. There was a little, when there was a terrorist fight, somebody bombarded and they tried to preserve it and they reconstructed and everything and they preserved it, even in Kashmir. That is called, mosque name is Hazrat Bal Mosque.
Wow.
Wow.
And it was one, and I may add, it was one time the hair of Muhammad was taken away by someone. It was stolen, and there was a big agitation, and they brought some hair, I don't know from where, and put it there that it is the original hair, and now again same thing started.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. What do you think of this kind of stuff, Dinku? Oh, can't hear you.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I believe in it. I mean, there's got to be something, but I was just wondering to myself that is it only the prophet's hair that is so charged, or even a perfect master?
Oh, yeah. Perfect master, even a saint.
Okay.
It has the vibrations. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a one of Baba's sadras over there in El Cerrito, and the small little center that's here, the Northern California Baba Center. It's literally squashed between a cafe and like a toy store or something like that, and it's just this tiny little space, and you walk in there, and it's like it's kind of it's old, it's not very it's seen better days basically, but nobody goes there pretty much, and there's a bunch of books, and the air's not too fresh, but Baba Sadra's in there, like in the others upstairs, and you go up there, and I went up there the other day, and it's just nobody's coming to, I mean, it's just deserted, and I just sat in there, and I was like, my goodness, this whole room is like completely just lit up, and there's people on the other side of the wall talking about talking about the orders and how annoying their customers are, and like they don't know that they're washing dishes and taking orders and doing all this stuff. And the other side of the wall is like this huge, beautiful, like the charge of divine love, and they're like, I can't, table 6 is just so, can you believe that guy? And it's just like you can hear that through the wall, and it's like it's just incredible. Like it's it's just amazing. You really, really feel him. He's his that emanation. It's a complete effulgence.
Well, I don't have Baba's sadra, but I have a sadra which is very similar to that, which belonged to my great-grandfather. My mom had preserved it, and after she passed, I took it and kept it for myself.
Yeah, I mean, there like there was one saint who his whole practice was saying God's name, and when he passed on and they buried him, people could still hear the name. The name was still
Wow.
emanating from his body. I mean, that's written up in the book Stay with God. And so, it stays with the, even stays with the body, all these great things. Even in Goa, they've got a few people over there. Saint Francis of Xavier, right? He's buried there.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
But now they don't keep, they used to open the coffin. It's in a glass coffin. They used to open it once a year. But then they stopped because of the pollution and, it started affecting the body. So they keep it closed.
Yeah. No, great lovers of God.
There's something about that though, to refresh yourself, to be dealing with those objects.
K.K. Desai collected a lot of Baba's articles, Sadras, Baba's used articles, and he has donated everything to the Mayor Archives.
Yeah.
Who's that?
K.K. Desai means Mansari's younger brother, and
Okay.
Meher Desai, Kristum Falati's wife, Meher Desai's father.
Okay.
A lot of things. And I had a fortunate enough to get a kerchief from him as a gift, which was used during Baba's Tavas used to wipe the Baba's sweat during 1965 darshan.
Yeah, Cyrus had once showed us, he had one of Baba's alphabet boards.
Yeah.
I have two things which Baba used this. One is given by the Manu Jasawala, that Baba, whenever he used to go to Bindra house, Baba used to they used to keep one porcelain coated iron one, that kettle, like tea kettle, small kettle. Baba used to take from the tea from that and pour it in a saucer, a cup, and they used to drink. So I got a gift from their family.
Yeah. VJ, I'm sure you've got some things, VJ.
Even just I got two garlands, which is used in 1962 darshan and also 65 darshan also. Those are my treasures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a garland thrown to us by Baba. So it's a silk garland, a small garland this size, and it is there with us. Yeah.
I'm wondering what kind of energies do these things like garlands and hair have? Like you go to a very charged place, like when I go to Mirzad, or Mehrabad at the Samadhi, carries a feeling of immense love. That's all I have experienced there.
Yeah.
But there are places which are basically like, and things and artifacts which are like amplifiers. They amplify whatever your wherever you are at.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what do these things carry and continue to carry?
Yeah, I mean they care those love impressions, the impressions of love stay with these things. And a lot of the Baba people, they would keep the shirt that they were wearing when Baba embraced them, they would wear that the rest of their life. I mean, not every day, but that, all these things. And they, you can feel the charge. I mean, of course, we're going to one day be, we're going to be full of divine impressions ourselves, as Baba lives more and more in us. So so we'll we'll package you up and put you in a little mosque, and put you in a box inside of a box inside of a box. No, you will become, you know, one of those relics, divine relics.
Lovely. No, I was just thinking, since, you know, could I then pick up a stone, you know, small stone on the beach, and maybe put that intent that this stone carries the love of Baba?
Yeah,
And
I
then,
mean, I mean, if you hold this while you're remembering Baba and everything like that, it will, you know, it will respond. They're not just inert objects.
they're
Yeah.
alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Baba was
Well-
there at Vengurla Beach. So,
Yeah. So,
What beach was that, Vijayji?
Vengurla Beach. Vengurla Beach at Goa, there is a rest house. And so Baba stayed there. And that Vengurla Beach area is, of course, charged. Yeah.
Thank you for that. I'm definitely going to check it
Yeah.
out. Thank you.
well, I think it's getting, unless there are anything left over, Sham will have some new, different stories of the this from the Sikh tradition, hopefully for next
Maybe
time.
next time.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anything else that comes to mind? Ganesh has been, he's been present, but he hasn't, you know, he hasn't asked any questions or read anything, you know.
No, Jeff, it's like I'm just absorbing all that's being shared over here, so I'm enjoying myself. Like, oh, I mean, it's beautiful.
Here's something that Baba said to Arnavas. I never said to feel me, I said to love me.
I never said to feel me.
I never said to feel me, I said to love me. So you can love Baba even if you're not feeling him. Here's Saint Teresa of Avila, kind of on the same theme. This is one of Baba's favorite of the Christian saints. And in fact, he indicated that Kitty Davy had been Saint Teresa of Avila. So often in the spiritual path, the heart itself seems barren or closed for days on end, and one feels nothing but dryness, dislike, and distaste. So if you feel like you're not having a good day, just think of Saint Teresa. So often on the spiritual path, the heart itself seems barren or closed. For days on end, one feels nothing but dryness, dislike, and distaste.
Is it like similar to the dark night of the soul?
Yeah, sometimes that's referred to the dark night of the soul. But I mean, like, for example, someone asked Kitty, do you feel Baba? He said, oh, no, I haven't felt him in years. Kitty Davy, I mean, she was giving, radiating so much love for everybody that came, but for herself, she hadn't felt Baba for years. I mean, she said that to a buddy of mine, you know. So you can't tell, like she loved him, but she didn't necessarily feel him. And that's all right. I mean, of course, it's nice to feel the love that, you know, but it's not necessarily a sign if you're feeling empty that you're not loving Baba. That seems like a paradox, but they're on different tracks. The feeling is on one track and love is on a different track. Love doesn't have any impressions. Love is impressionless, and feelings are, you know, they are impressions.
Jeff,
Thanks
I
for
had a
explaining
question
that, Jeff.
What's that?
Oh, sorry. No, I just said thanks for explaining that, because I often wondered, why is it that, I feel empty, dry a lot
Yeah.
of times. And yet, how should I put it? I know that at some level, I'm with Baba, or, I don't know, I can't explain it.
Yeah, you're absorbed in Baba even though you're not feeling it.
Mm.
Or that Baba's with you. There's a knowing, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a feeling knowing. It's a kind of a knowing that isn't connected with, necessarily have to be connected with an emotion or a thought or a feeling. It's a knowing that Baba is there.
Yeah.
It's that
So,
comes in
Jeff,
very
I had
handy. Yeah, go ahead.
Jeff, I had a question from Effort and Grace. Probably next time I'll share it, not now. So I'll just keep it for next time.
Well, say it now just so I can remember in case you forget.
Okay, I'll just keep it now because that will just. So this comes on page 14 from the small book, wherein Darwin Shaw says, "We have allowed all sorts of self-created conditions to make us happy or unhappy. When our only income comes from the master, we no longer participate in the duality game." So what does it mean when you say when our only income comes from the master? So I was just trying to get that more clear.
Yeah.
When our only income comes from the master. So this was trying to understand that
Good.
better.
Yeah,
I know
keep
we had
that in
discussed this
mind.
in our Friday Effort and Grace workshop. We had some insight in that, but even I would like to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah. You get your income from what comes from within. Yeah. Hey, well, we have to say goodbye to Guru Nanak there by the boathouse. Were you here when we put the images of Guru Nanak up on the screen? It looks so much like Jay Moeller. The depictions. Yeah. Well, see you, Priya. Dinesh. I don't know who Faz is. It's not Farzine. Sham, thank you for giving us some of those stories.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dinesh.
Yeah, Baba.
Yeah, Dinesh, you got a haircut or something, did you? Or must?
I haven't got. I'm still.
Yeah.
No.
Good. Jasima, see you guys. And
Thank you.
I did write something up on giving things to Baba. I wrote something up that what I gathered from Darwin and Erich. So maybe Ganesh, I'll send that to you. What?
Please, can you share that? Yeah, I was just going to ask. Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
And next time, if you think it's halfway decent, we can post it and other people can. I don't know how you can do it, but they might be able to get it off of the chat or something.
Oh, please send it, Jeff. I'd love to have it. Thank you.
I got your email
Yeah.
address already, and I got Ganesh's. Yeah.
And
I sent it to Alan.
It can be put in the group also.
I don't know how to do a group.
Ganesh knows. You can send
Sham,
to Ganesh and Ganesh.
Yeah, Sham, I can send it to you. I can do that for you.
Okay, I'll send it to Ganesh.
So I
and
have
I'll send
it. I have Sham's, so I can send it to him. I have him on WhatsApp, so I can send it there.
Yeah. So Ganesh is the guy that knows about these things.
Right.
Yeah. I don't. So, hey, wonderful to see you folks. If you're around on Tuesday, I don't know what the Tuesday is. Wednesday on India, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll be waiting.
Yeah. Good.
See
And
you.
yeah, wonderful. See you
And
guys.
Thank you, Jeff.
hey,
Yeah.
Good
Jeff,
night.
tomorrow is
What?
Jeff, tomorrow is Meramai's birthday,
Yeah.
22nd December.
Yeah, we
They
spent
celebrate.
about 3 hours today on Zoom remembering Mara.
Yeah.
Wow, that was
Wow.
so, yeah. Anyway, much love.